This trial is the culmination of decisions made by one person, the defendant. Those decisions have forever altered the futures of 3 families, and of you also, Mackenzie. And your decisions forever robbed Dominic and Davion of the futures that they had before them. If there is one thing that can be taken away from this case, as painful as it is this. Every decision we make is important. Every action we make is important. Regardless of whether the decision is a good one or a bad one, or the actions are good or not, the result is the same. The consequences ripple through time and affect many more people than one might think at the time of the decision. In criminal cases, the state carries the greatest burden under our law, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. As I previously stated, I considered all the evidence presented, and at this point I would like to comment specifically on Exhibit 802, the crash video. This is the type of evidence you can never unsee. You can never forget the visual or audio of this exhibit. It is chilling and tragic. As you review that exhibit, you know that you are watching the oncoming deaths of 2 people, and there is nothing that will stop it. The video clearly shows the purpose and intent of the defendant. She chose a course of death and destruction that day. Exhibit 802 crystallizes the deadly...
At this point, it still sounds like a tragic crash, but in the next few moments, the judge explains why this wasn't treated as an accident. The evidence you're about to hear completely changes the direction of the case.
Crystallizes the deadly decision-making of the defendant. She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street. Mackenzie alone made the decision to drive her car, to drive an obscure route, a route she visited a few days before, and a route not routinely taken by her. Mackenzie alone chose the time to make the drive, early in the morning, when any reasonable person would expect that few people would be nearby to witness it or offer life-saving assistance. She made these decisions despite knowing, as any reasonable person would, that her mission of death could have involved others, not even in the car with her. Other people, other cars, pedestrians. She had a mission, and she executed it with precision. The mission was death. Mackenzie alone decided to push the pedal to the floor and demand the ultimate speed of that vehicle to 90 to 100 miles per hour. She alone decided what was to be. Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day, and she alone made that decision for Dominic and Davion, and she continuously acted in a manner to achieve the purpose. Whether or not she intended to also kill herself was a matter of speculation. It had no relevance to the weighing of the evidence in this case. The totality of the evidence clearly demonstrates that Mackenzie Shirilla acted purposely and intentionally. In the early morning hours of July 31st, 2022, her purpose was to kill Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. No reasonable fact finder could view the totality of this evidence in this case and come to any other conclusion. Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful.
This was not reckless driving. This was murder. K. Torrentbod. Did you hear that? The judge didn't call it reckless driving. He called it murder. Now the verdict is about to be read, and every charge announced next reveals just how serious the court believed this case was.
Intentional and purposeful. This was not count 3, murder. The court, having had count 3 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder to wit Dominic Russo in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02b as charged in count 3. Count 4, murder. The court, having had count 4 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder to wit Dominic Russo in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02b as charged in count 4. Count 5, felonious assault. The court, having had count 5 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of felonious assault to wit Dominic Russo in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.11 of the revised code is charged in count 5 of the indictment. Count 6, felonious assault. The court, having had count 6 tried to pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of felonious assault to wit Dominic Russo in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2903.1182 as charged in count 6. Count 7, felonious assault. Court, having had count 7 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of felonious assault to wit Davion Flanagan in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2903.1181 as charged in count 7. Count 8, felonious assault. The court, having had count 8 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant.
Most people think the case ends with the murder verdict, but it doesn't. There are still more charges to come, including drug possession and criminal tools. Stay until the end to see the complete list of convictions handed down by the court.
Pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of felonious assault to wit Davion Flanagan in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2903.1182 as charged in count 8. Count 9, aggravated vehicular homicide. The court, having had count 9 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of aggravated vehicular homicide to wit Dominic Russo in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2903.0682A as charged in count 9. Count 10, aggravated vehicular homicide. The court, having had count 10 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of aggravated vehicular homicide to wit Davion Flanagan in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2903.0682A as charged in count 10. Count 11, drug possession. The court, having had count 11 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of drug possession in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2925.11A as charged in count 11. Count 12, possessing criminal tools. The court, having had count 12 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of possessing criminal tools in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2923.24A is charged in count 12. The court, having had count 12 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant Mackenzie Shirilla guilty of possessing criminal tools and further finds the defendant did intend to use a substance, device, instrument, or article to wit a digital scale to commit the offense of a felony. Sentencing will be 1 week from today, August 21st at 1 p.m. If any party wishes to file a sentencing memorandum, it is to be filed by 4 p.m. on Thursday, August 17th. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, baby.
I love you.
Well done. Everybody, guys, that's